The film begins with a scene of two women named Amanda and Natalie waving to the camera and saying goodbye before starting their trip. Natalie records videos with Chris, who looks excited about the journey because they are going to visit his brother Paul, who decided to settle in Kiev, Russia. They travel through many European cities until they finally arrive in Kiev, where Paul is watching the videos and realizes how crazy they are. Paul meets Chris and tells him that he decided to live in Kiev because he likes the girls there, especially those who like Americans. At the same time, he shows a strange interest in Amanda. Chris explains that her fiancé recently left her, and Paul responds that this is actually good because she is probably feeling lonely and needs a casual relationship to forget her past. Chris tells him he would never do anything like that with her, while Paul insists he will not approach her either. Paul then asks Chris about his relationship with Natalie, and Chris says he plans to propose to her on their upcoming trip to Moscow. Paul is surprised by this but still congratulates him. After spending a good time at the bar, they return home. Chris shows affection to Natalie in the street, while Paul tries to flirt with Amanda to get more attention, but she laughs at him and tells him he has issues. Paul smiles and takes her comment lightly. They walk through a narrow alley where they encounter some thugs, but they manage to pass without any trouble. The next day, they have breakfast before continuing their trip to Moscow. Suddenly, Paul comes to the table and asks about Chernobyl. Natalie explains that it is the place where the nuclear disaster happened. Chris immediately understands that Paul wants to take them there and refuses, saying they will stick to their original plan and go to Moscow. However, Paul convinces them that Chernobyl could be an exciting and adventurous stop, and he mentions a specialized tour guide named Yuri who will accompany them. Amanda warns that radiation levels in Chernobyl could be dangerous, but Paul reassures them that they will not be affected because the visit will last only one day. Paul then asks who agrees to go, and Amanda and Natalie raise their hands. Chris has no choice but to agree as well. They then go to Yuri's office, where they see a photo of him from his military days, revealing that he used to be a soldier. Amanda curiously asks about the trip plans, and Yuri shows them a video about Chernobyl, assuring them that the tour will be completely safe and that it is not his first time guiding tours in the area. Suddenly, a strange couple arrives, a man named Michael and his wife Zoe, who join the trip. With the group now complete, they begin the journey. Yuri explains that the nuclear disaster happened due to a failed system test and that nature has slowly started to recover since then. At the border, a soldier stops them at a checkpoint. Yuri speaks with him while another soldier watches from a distance. After a while, Yuri returns and says there is some maintenance work inside Chernobyl and entry is not allowed. Paul gets angry and yells at Yuri, reminding him that they already paid for the trip. This forces Yuri to take another route through the forest. After they finally enter the area, Yuri shows them a lake. He puts his hand in the water, pretending that something under it grabbed him, and then presents a strange mutated fish. Paul grabs it, and it suddenly starts moving, shocking everyone. The lake is revealed to be full of mutated fish. At the next stop, they arrive at the abandoned residential area of Chernobyl, once home to thousands of people. They are amazed by the empty buildings and amusement park rides. Yuri uses a radiation meter and confirms that the area is currently safe. They notice a rusty Ferris wheel that looks like it was meant for spring celebrations that never happened due to evacuation. Before leaving, they take a group photo, smiling despite the haunting surroundings. After that, they begin walking inside the abandoned buildings. The structures are in complete decay, and some areas are filled with darkness. When they come back outside, they start noticing everything more calmly. Yuri tells them that nature has truly returned to this place. In the final part of the trip, Yuri stops in an abandoned residential area, where a decaying dog carcass greets Natalie at the entrance. They move away from it and continue walking. Natalie asks if there were any other animals in the area, and he tells her that it is highly unlikely to see animals during the day. A little later, they look inside an abandoned apartment. Michael tries to grab something inside, but Yuri warns him that it is probably contaminated and tells him to leave it. Yuri then takes them to the rooftop of the building and shows them the nuclear reactor that exploded in Chernobyl, explaining that the radiation levels there are extremely high and that protective gear is required to enter. The group starts taking photos on the terrace while Yuri scans the area. He notices something like ash on the ground and tries to touch it, but it turns out to be highly radioactive, so he quickly pushes it away. Suddenly, a loud noise comes from outside, drawing their attention. Yuri moves carefully inside the building and tells them to stay where they are. Suddenly, a large bear enters the building, terrifying everyone. After the bear leaves, the group decides to escape Chernobyl and runs to the car in panic, while Yuri tries to calm them down, joking that bear attacks do not increase the price of the tour. He then tells them there is a problem with the car and that its cable has been cut, possibly eaten by animals. Yuri tries to contact someone over the radio, but there is no signal. As darkness begins to take over the area, Yuri continues trying the radio without success. Paul starts blaming Yuri for bringing them there, while Chris and Natalie blame Paul for changing the plan. Amanda intervenes, saying that the travel agency must know their location, but Yuri explains that he works alone and no one is coming to rescue them. Michael suggests walking to the checkpoint, but Yuri says it is too far and the area is dangerous at night. Suddenly, they begin hearing the screams of strange creatures. Yuri takes his weapon and decides to investigate, while Chris insists on going with him, but Paul tells him to stay because he caused all the problems. Shortly after, they hear gunshots. Paul runs toward the sound to see what is happening. When he arrives, he finds Chris seriously injured from bite wounds, screaming in pain. They ask him what bit him, but he says he did not see anything, only that multiple creatures attacked him. He also says that Yuri was caught in the attack. Suddenly, a pack of dogs attacks the car again, increasing the panic. Fortunately, the dogs eventually leave. However, the car battery dies and the lights go out, forcing them to use their phone flashlights. They begin treating Chris's wounds. After that, they sit inside the car in the cold and darkness until morning. When the sun rises again, Paul tries to contact Yuri over the radio again, but there is still no response. Paul, Amanda, and Michael decide to leave the car and search for Yuri. After walking a short distance, they hear Yuri's radio and discover a staircase leading down to a basement, suggesting that something attacked him. Amanda insists they return immediately, but Michael says they must confirm whether he is still alive, so they all go down together. Inside, they find blood trails and assume Yuri is dead, but Michael insists they need his weapon. As they continue searching, they hear a creature approaching and quickly hide. The strange creature is seen eating Yuri's body, while Amanda slowly reaches for the weapon and takes it. She screams loudly, scaring the creature away, and Michael and Paul lock the door. The three of them then rush back to the car and tell the others that Yuri is dead and they must leave immediately. However, Chris is injured and unable to walk, and it will take a long time to reach the checkpoint. Chris tells Paul that he must go to the checkpoint, call for help, and come back. At the same time, Amanda looks at the camera and notices a creature appearing in the photo that was taken inside the apartment. Chris and Natalie decide to stay alone in the car, while Paul, Amanda, Zoe, and Michael continue on foot to seek help. They walk a long distance. Along the way, Paul expresses guilt for putting his brother in danger in the first place, but Amanda tells him that he needs to focus on saving him. After a while, they find an abandoned car garage and start searching for anything they can use to repair their vehicle. While inspecting the place, they discover a bus riddled with bullet holes. It becomes clear that another group had been there before them and was also attacked by a creature. Paul and Amanda search inside the bus and find a broken weapon, a flash drive, and a guard's body that appears to have been eaten by the creature. Meanwhile, Michael says he has found a cable that could be used to fix the car. Paul contacts Natalie and tells her they need to return to repair the vehicle. Suddenly, a pack of wild dogs attacks them, forcing them to run. After a while, they cross a river via a weak bridge. Zoe tries to cross it angrily and falls, and Michael immediately jumps into the water to rescue her. A mutated fish attacks him, but Amanda manages to pull him safely back to shore at the right moment. Michael continues to suffer from minor bite wounds, but the dogs fail to catch them, and they successfully cross the river. As time passes and night begins to fall, they continue searching for the car while talking about the creatures in the area. Suddenly, they hear the screams of a strange creature. They search for the car, but it is gone. They thoroughly scan the area until they finally find it destroyed and covered in blood. They discover Natalie's phone and watch Chris's final video. In the video, Chris says he intended to propose to Natalie inside the car instead of in Moscow because he feared he might not survive. Suddenly, a creature smashes the car window and attacks them. The video cuts off. Paul is completely devastated, but he is still determined to find his brother. Moments later, they hear screaming from nearby. Paul runs toward the sound, and the rest of the group follows him. They find blood traces inside an abandoned building and assume it belongs to Chris. They search through the dark building and encounter a terrifying creature, forcing them to run again. They see Zoe in panic, unable to speak about Chris's fate. Michael says he took a map from the wall and tries to plot a route to the checkpoint. Paul, however, is extremely upset and refuses to leave without finding his brother. Michael tries to calm him down, and they finally decide to return to the checkpoint first and call for help. As they walk and approach the nuclear reactor area, they see a mysterious child standing in their path. They slowly approach and try to talk to him. At that moment, a strange creature grabs Natalie and drags her away. They run after her, but she disappears. While searching for her, more creatures begin to approach them, forcing them to run again. They reach a locked door inside a nuclear power station and break it open by force. They go inside and descend the stairs into dark corridors until they reach a heavy door. But once inside, the creatures attack Michael and kill him. Zoe cries for her fiancé, but they have no choice but to keep trying to survive. Paul finds a body on the ground and believes it is his brother, but when he touches it, it suddenly transforms into a creature that attacks him. Its scream alerts the others, and they are forced to run again. They escape up the stairs, but the creatures catch Zoe, and she does not survive. Paul and Amanda continue fleeing through the dark corridors of the building until they reach the nuclear reactor area, where the high radiation begins to slowly burn their skin, forcing them to escape outside immediately. Amanda finds Natalie's body and mourns her friend. They continue walking, but creatures suddenly jump on them from behind. They fight back as best as they can. Amanda grabs a metal pipe and strikes one of the creatures, helping Paul escape. Amanda screams for help, and a group of armed soldiers appears. The soldiers see Paul injured and assume he has turned into a creature, so they shoot and kill him. After that, they take Amanda on a stretcher and bring her to the lead doctor at a hospital. The doctor asks where she was found. When he learns she was near the reactor, he decides she must not be released because she has seen everything. He explains that the creatures of Chernobyl are actually humans who were transformed by radiation, and that the government kept it a secret. Since Amanda has witnessed this secret, she is taken into a dark room. Inside the room, the creatures grab her while she screams for help, but no one hears her. The film ends with Amanda being attacked in the darkness, with no hope of survival. And that's where the story ends. Don't forget that your opinion matters to us, so make sure to leave your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to the channel.